Hello and welcome to Diamonds and Duds. I am Ivan.
And I am Charles, and I have two words to say. Oh boy. For this episode.
Yes. Oh boy, for this episode, we are doing Quantum Leap, the reboot of the
1980s.
Late 80s, or maybe early 90s, I forget when.
It was 80s.
Okay.
Pure 80s.
Classic with starring Scott Bakula and a bunch of other people. Episode 32.
Yep, and if you're not familiar with the original classic show, that oh boy was Dr. Sam Beckett, Scott Bakula's catchphrase that he did at the end of every single episode. He said the words "oh boy." It's been 30 years since Dr. Sam Beckett stepped into the Quantum Leap accelerator and vanished. Now, a new team led by physicist Ben Sung has been assembled to restart the project in hopes of understanding the mysteries behind the machine and the man who created it.
This is it's listed as having the same creator as the original, which I believe is the case. It stars Raymond Lee, who's best, other than this, is best known for being in Top Gun Maverick. And the person playing his love interest, when I was looking this up, Charles, this was pretty much her first thing she's done.
Oh wow!
Which we'll get into the show as we go. Was super impressed by that.
Yeah, and then you got Ernie Hudson.
Oh yeah. Finishing off, there's Ernie Hudson and some other people I kind of recognize from some stuff, but.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar with the concept of Quantum Leap, we're talking procedural here. Basically, Quantum Leap being the Quantum Leap time machine, you are leaping back in time into somebody else's body. In the original Quantum Leap, Scott Bakula created the Quantum Leap device. He leapt backwards in time, but then he couldn't get back home. Each time he was in somebody else's body, striving to prove right when once went wrong, hoping each time that his next leap would be the leap home.
Exactly, and this was something kind of mentioned. The people who are in it already has a good cast, good creators here. When I went and looked at the Rotten Tomato score, the critics had a 58%, which I thought was low. To be honest, I hadn't looked up a lot of it. It was something that was a little lower than I thought. Probably had a 72% by the critics, which. After watching our last thing, or about 72% by the audience, yeah. And for the fact that that's the same, virtually the same
funny.
Score as Craven the Hunter, you people don't know what you're talking about.
That is definitely funny. A couple aspects of the original Quantum Leap at play. Just know that. So there's each time the leaper, we'll say, because there's obviously a different leaper in this. The leaper, there's a hologram character that's actually in the future who's trying to help them figure out what's going on, what he needs to do. In the original, you cannot leap before you were born. In the original. And there was also memory. In the original, when Sam Beckett first started leaping, he completely went amnesia. I think he slowly regained his memory back in the original, but he had complete amnesia of everything when he first leaped.
Okay. And so this show is something you can currently watch on Netflix.
Yep.
All 31 episodes of the series are there. It's something that the original creator seems to be behind it. And it seems to be, from what I remember on the original one, it wasn't really lore heavy. There wasn't a lot of lore heavy shows back at the time. There wasn't a lot of, at the time, a lot of the network people didn't like stuff going week to week.
Yeah.
Unless it was a special event.
Yeah.
They were worried at that because it wasn't, back in the 80s, you couldn't watch this on Netflix. You couldn't watch this digitally. If you missed an episode, you missed an episode until you happen to catch it randomly later.
Yeah.
They were worried about, having it being too complicated and then people just not watching it because of it.
Yeah, the only thing that I know that they introduced towards the end of the show, and the original Quantum Leap, it kind of got canceled before it was ready. They were able to basically kind of go back and wrap things up as much as they were going to. But towards the end, they did introduce. So they didn't use this a lot. It might have just been a couple of times. They introduced the concept of basically bad guy leapers. That they at one point Sam encountered a woman that she was by the end she saw him for who he really was. And by the end of the episode, he found out that this ex-leaper, she was leaping person to person, striving to prove wrong what once went right. So trying to do the opposite.
We'll get to this. Part of me, now that you mention this, part of me wonders if that's what they... And we only watched the first 3. I haven't seen any of the rest of them.
Yeah, they're
part of me wonders if that's what they were starting to possibly introduce at the end of the 3rd episode.
My guess, because as we'll get into it, this one does have a bit more lore. And I'm betting, honestly, considering that they are going to that's the direction they're going to go in, at least in some kind of way.
And because it seems like what this show, understandably, was really trying to link themselves to the original as much as possible. And Dean Stockwell, the person who played the guy who played the hologram from the first one, Al had passed away before this show started airing. So understandably, he's not in this.
Yeah, but even though he's not in this, I will say his character has a heavy presence. His widow is in it, and that I believe it's the same actress who played his wife in the original. Because in the original, there was an episode midway through where Sam leapt into somebody, and the entire episode Al was directing, this woman's husband is off in Vietnam. She thinks he's dead, and she's going to cheat on him and find a new and it's going to just ruin her life, ruin the guy's life. Until towards the end at the very end of the episode, you see that on the mantelpiece is Al, and so Sam realized that he actually leaped into, and so Al was feeding him incorrect information because Al was he was an alcoholic, and so Al told him what he was really there for, and Sam just saved it at the last second, but. In the final episode of the original Quantum Leap, basically he got offered by whatever entity it was. Basically, he got a chance to change one thing that he wanted to change, and so he went back to that moment and was able, because Al's wife thought that he had died. Al had spent time in a Vietnam POW camp, and so Sam was able to tell his wife that Al's alive. He's in a POW camp, and so that changed Al's entire life, so that he never got divorced, happily married, and so in this timeline, she's his widow, and then he had kids. We will get to it. We have met a daughter of him.
Yeah, we do meet a daughter, and as my brother was talking there, I went and looked it up. That is absolutely this. Yeah. Well, it is the same actress, and she has the same name from when she was in Quantum Leap for 2 episodes back then.
Yep.
So that's really cool that they were able to do that.
Yeah, same. And by the way, if you're going in looking for a Scott Bakula cameo, you're not going to find him in the first 3 episodes, and just from what I'd seen in the beginning earlier, I don't expect him to show up in the 2 seasons. Scott Bakula is very much, hey, I'm rooting for you guys, I'm in your corner, I'll be watching, but there is nothing in the world can get me to. I moved on. And he said it in a very nice way, probably nicer than I said, but his answer was very much, I'm good, I moved on from that character.
Yeah, which I completely get, because I think, bluntly, Charles, and stop me if I'm wrong, but the way I feel about Scott Bakula, it took him all. I think there's 2 things at play here. One is he probably has put this character to bed.
Yes,
he's 100%. He enjoyed his time as Sam Beckett. Everybody loves him as Sam Beckett. It's not something he makes a ton of money bluntly off of nowadays.
No.
And it took him a long time to be able to do stuff and to be able to be because I know he was on one of the CSIs or something like that.
He was a main star of New Orleans.
Yeah, and so
he was a lead cast member on Enterprise.
Yeah, and so he was able to do stuff, but it took him a bit to get to that point.
Yeah.
I don't think if he had appeared in this, that would have ever brought him. But I think just he wanted to set a firm. Okay, I'm good, guys. I wish you the best. I'm not going to be somebody who comes out on TikTok or Twitter or something and bashes you guys a bunch. I'm not going to say I hate it or anything.
And the same kind of thing, because I'm pretty sure, like, when they did the MacGyver reboot, Richard Dean Anderson was like, "Hey, I'm good, guys."
No.
So same kind of thing. One thing I like, so we see right in the beginning of the first episode, basically, so we have Ben and his recent fiance Addison. They are both on the project. Ben's going to be the owl whenever it's ready. It's not ready. Addison's going to be the leaper. But then we see, basically, we don't know why, but all of a sudden we know that Ben starts it up and leaps, and then suddenly, and July 13th, 1985.
Yep, and it's something that it kind of kicks off with Ben and his fiance Addison. We also meet the rest of the immediate cast, which, from what I understand, and my memory shit for stuff like this, I don't think we ever really met the behind the scenes people.
No, we never
from the original group.
No, there was only one episode ever where maybe there was one episode. I don't think I ever saw it, where Sam and Al. I think the previous episode, Sam had been in a mental institution when he was about to leap. He was getting electric shocks, and that messes things up, and it switched them to where Sam went home and it was the hologram, and Al was there. And then I think they showed there. The only other time that they actually showed the future was in the 2-part Kennedy episode, where they when Sam leaped into Lee Harvey Oswald. And Al was interrogating the lead, because you learn that the Wynn was interrogating Lee Harvey Oswald, because a way for the show to work, they had to have it so he was a lone gunman. That's the only way it worked in the quantum leap thing. And so the leaper, the regular person, is in the future when that happens, at least in the original, but like they don't remember anything. They think it's like a dream or something. So that's the only time they ever showed the future. Other than that, it was nothing, but it was all in the past, and then Al popping up periodically.
Yeah, and what we meet here is we kind of meet Ernie Hudson, who I think is a great addition to this show, to kind of veteran actor to lead this,
and never ages.
Oh, I know, right?
He's in his 80s.
He looks like he's the same age as he was in like Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
So he's kind of the military guy leading this from a military standpoint. He has his kind of, I don't know how the structure goes. I would say his second in command, Jen Chu, who the actress I thought I recognized from some stuff. As I went and looked it up, I didn't recognize her.
She looks a little bit like Ming-Na Wen to me. Like the security kind of, she just gives off a little Ming-Na Wen from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. vibes to
That's
me.
I
know it wasn't her, but it kind of gives me those vibes.
And then we have Ian Wright, who kind of plays the security person.
Yeah, the tech person.
Yeah, that plays the tech person there.
By the way, go ahead.
No, you're good. Go.
I have a theory on Ernie Hudson's character.
Okay.
It hasn't revealed in the first year. We know Ernie Hudson character, obviously a lot older than 80s. We know they've revealed he's talking to the character that he's been in Vietnam, right? There's a 2-part episode in the original where Sam leaps into a body of an African American soldier in Vietnam and saves people. I would. And with this connection, I would not be surprised if at some point during the 2 seasons, they revealed that Ernie Hudson was whether he knows or not, was somebody that Sam once leaped into.
That wouldn't surprise me at all here too, because basically they have a party where you meet everybody. You see that Ben's kind of the physicist behind everything.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like public speaking. He doesn't like kind of being in front of a group.
Yeah.
His soon-to-be wife or whatever is kind of the outgoing person amongst this, but also you can tell that this group they're a close-knit. This isn't like your normal military hard-nosed structure. This is a group that's very close.
So they don't. So when he leaves, freaks everybody out because this project was nowhere near. It was
No,
nowhere near.
it was basically what it is as my brother was mentioning some of the stuff at the beginning, kind of with Sam, the original Sam Beckett and stuff. This is obviously this kind of film 2022, I think is when it was, and so it's meant to be 25 years or so roughly after when Sam Beckett originally.
Yeah, I think they say
1995 is when Sam Beckett originally went in. It's meant to be now, so we're roughly 27 years, 30 years, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Jesus, 95 is almost 30 years.
Yeah. It's 30 years.
Oh, yeah, it is 30
We're in
years.
2026.
Holy fuck. Basically, it's meant to be approximately 30 years later, but it's not ready. Sam Beckett never. Then they make sure they mention that for people who don't remember how it, because obviously most people our age, kind of, we're in our 40s. People 30s, 40s, and older are going to remember this show. Yeah. They're going to remember that he kind of leaped from person, but they're not. No, most people aren't going to remember how it ended.
No.
And so what I liked is at the beginning of this is they did mention that, hey, Sam never came back.
Yeah.
And so the understanding is that this isn't anywhere near being ready. Yeah. Is what it is. But what the show, what the pilot episode is that as you leave the party, you kind of go to, let's call it an okay CGI. Yeah. Let's call it television CGI.
Yeah, TV CGI.
For like 2014.
Yeah.
But I think it's meant to be an effect. But basically, you see Sam go. But at this point, we don't know that Sam's not the Sam Beckett. We don't know that. Ben's not the Sam Beckett. We just
we don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet. That we find that out later. Yeah. You just see Ben go into the thing. Yeah. And they're like, oh, the show's starting. It's kind of what happens, and the rest of the team freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, and just like in the original, Ben has no memory of anything. Like when he leaves, he doesn't know that he left. He doesn't know anything, which is going to present a problem we're going to see over the course of the 3 episodes, because nobody knows why Ben left, and like the only potential theories in the beginning is basically him for nefarious reasons, and he's now stuck again.
Yeah, because basically the first one he jumps into is someone who initially looks to be some sort of bank robbery or something like that he jumps into. Addison, who's his spouse, or soon I'm probably actually going to call him spouse a lot. Yeah, they kind of treat him that way. She comes in as the hologram, and he's like, "Why do you keep saying jump?
Yeah,
who are you?
Yeah,
what's going on here?"
I like that dynamic because it really shows. And they get into it a little bit in a couple episodes. I'm sure they got into it more as it went on. That how it really has to be hard for Addison to watch, to have her fiance not remember anything about her, and to be going through these leaps. Like that. Like we'll see in episode 3. Like she has to watch, her fiance make out with a woman, and so it's just kind of a unique. And it would have been a little bit the same thing if she was leaving, but without any kind of memory, is kind of a cool element.
Well, and also as they're going through here, the thing she is trying to balance over the course of these. And I don't remember when this first came out. My guess is the first two episodes very even may have been one episode. The first 2 episodes kind of feel like one episode, but because the thing is that they don't know why. Because basically, what she finds out is that he not only did he sort of jump in without anybody doing it, he loaded a bunch of new software to the what do you call quantum leap machine or whatever right before he jumped in. But he also, what we find out later, is he turned off all the safety protocols.
Yes, all the safety protocols.
Because one of the things my brother mentioned and I'm glad he mentioned it when he mentioned the original series, is that Sam Beckett back when he first, the thing was is that you couldn't jump into someone who was born
a time before you were alive.
before you were alive. That was I remember that once they mentioned that was a key point.
It was a very key. It was a key point because I remember there was one episode that I don't remember much about it, but there was some kind of screw up with the leap thing, and he did leap a little bit before he was born, and it was like a bit of a dangerous scenario. So yeah, but now that's gone. So now he can leap, and he can leap before he was born.
Yeah, and so we don't know. And so let's get back into the first episode. Basically, is that they kind of slowly bring you along to what the structure of this show is going to be. The structure of the show is going to be is that Ben leaps into somebody. The team finds out why he leapt. There's going to be some sort of thing he has to do to fix or help this person's life in some way. Once Ben does that, he will leap, hopefully home.
Yeah,
is what everybody's hoping is that it will be the leap that leaps him back to his own body.
Yeah. Now, if you watch the original, there's a couple things you gonna have to accept, and I think it's a good thing about. And so, in the original, since you didn't see the future time, the entire episode was really, really digging into what was going on, like Sam's interaction with people. Sometimes Sam's in unusual situations, this that, because of the fact that we are going to spend some of our time in the future with them helping out, but also trying to find that's where a lot of the ongoing lore takes place. It's gonna Ben's part is gonna be just a little more streamlined than Sam was, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I really like seeing the future part of this. I think that's a nice new addition.
No, I think that's a nice new addition too, but also I like that it also makes it different than the original show. This isn't some thing where they're trying to, hey, Quantum Leap was popular, let's just do Quantum Leap again.
Yeah.
And they're trying to take it to the next step. They try at multiple occasions to bring in original stuff from the original series and link it, but link it in such a way that if you don't know they linked it, it's not going to hurt you.
Yeah, and and especially for me, I am someone who I'm not a fan of straight procedurals. Okay, now doesn't mean I don't recognize the quality of a Law and Order. It just means I don't dislike that. I need some thorough you don't have to hit the lore every single episode. I like to have some ongoing story. Like Supernatural did it really well. Buffy Angel does it really well. And to where especially Supernatural in some of the early years where the beginning of the season they're going to touch on they're going to introduce kind of what the ongoing storyline. You kind of get updates here and there. Many episodes it's just a small little update. Around the middle of the season, you get a couple episodes or episode or two that's really going to hone in and advance that, and then you can continue the weekly leap of the weeks in this case until you get to at the end of the season, last episode or two, you get zeroed in on and story. And so I like that. That to me is that's the kind of procedural that I love, where it's like that, where there's an ongoing story. We don't have to hit it though in every episode. You get a little snidbits advance there.
I like it. It also if you're not gonna have if you're not gonna have it just be like the original series. Bluntly, you need something for Ernie Hudson and his team to do every week.
Oh, yeah.
Because part of this is there's a supercomputer that tells you, hey, here's, it's a 92% chance that you have to do this.
Yes.
It's kind of and that's the way it was in the original series, too.
That's Ziggy.
Yeah, exactly. Ziggy. And so one of the things that this show is going to do is that Addison is going to be going in. And so with this first episode, is that he gets into a bank robbery. The thing I enjoyed immensely with these first three episodes, Charles, is one of my favorite parts of Quantum Leap was Scott Bakula getting into a scenario that he had no business being in.
Yeah.
That he had no idea what, and I can't think of one off the top of my head. But like in this, is that he jumps into the character he jumps in. They're doing some sort of robbery. You find out later it's for C4, which we'll get into in a second.
Yeah.
But like he's the getaway driver who has to drive stick.
Yes,
and
he
he's
can't
never driven stick before.
before.
And he's talking to Addison in the car, which is understandably freaking out the people who just robbed the place because they can't fucking see Addison.
Yeah,
they just see their getaway driver talking to himself about how he can't drive stick.
Yeah, exactly. Because in the lore of the original, no one saw the hologram except I want to say that sometimes like dogs. And every once in a while, like a little kid, there was like one or two times where a little kid that was like really little would see in certain, not all little kids, but there was a couple times where like the little kid could see out. So like, yeah, generally nobody sees the hologram.
And my memory with the original series, like episode to episode, wasn't great. What I found very interesting and I liked about this first episode was they told him, "Hey, there's like a 90-something% chance all you gotta do is call the cops and that's gonna solve this."
Yeah.
But he realized that if he called, because part of this is that he found out he was doing this to help out a friend.
Yeah.
And part of it is that his friend was going to die.
Yeah.
Is what happened. But he realized that if he simply called it in and his friend went to jail, that the reason they were doing this was to get money so that his friend's wife could get a surgery. And that she would still end up dying. That wasn't why he jumped into this. Yeah. But Ben knew that, well, it's still going to fuck her over. I need to save the whole thing. Yeah. And so he does, in which we find out it would the other wouldn't have done.
Yeah, because the friend is slated to get killed at the end.
Exactly.
It's going to get slated to get killed by the robbers.
Because basically the in the future, they're really confused. Because they see that the C4 that was used for this was used for some sort of explosion that didn't hurt anybody, and then the friend was murdered the next day and no one knows why. Yeah. It's basically what had happened. Yeah. Now what you find out was that the explosion was for the stealing of a diamond, was for the stealing of the Hope diamond, which I found was kind of funny.
Yeah, because Ziggy's not an impotent. Basically, Ziggy's percentages are based upon essentially public record, public knowledge, like, newspaper reports, this and that, and so that's one thing I'm kind of interested in now that we know. I'm interested in now that we know that he can go prior to him being alive. And what happens when, I'm sure they do it at some point. What happens when you go ahead, and I think a lot of the reason to keep in mind is the reality is, as far as set costs, I would love it if in one of the episodes they went back to like 1700s for like just 1 week where there's there's hardly, so like how reliable is Ziggy gonna be then to even know why the hell he's there, So that'd be kind of cool. But you find out his character is not who he says he is.
No. Basically, they find out that, his character's a cop.
Yep.
As basically it sounds like the original getaway driver was picked up because they wanted to institute the character Ben leaped into this to kind of catch them all in the course of this, which obviously the reason they're jumping in is because it kind of fucked the other guy over. But yeah, basically he's a cop. They find out that he's a cop over the course of this, and it goes haywire, but it kind of works. It ends up working out for him, though.
Yeah, it does. There's a one point again in true Quantum Leap fashion. He tries to do one thing that briefly ends up changing the odds to where like hundreds of people die. But he manages to convinces the guy to help go to the cops, and it ends up coming where they're like the guy in the history of the guy, like he was able to save it, and his wife survived, and
basically he thought he was like, okay, if I stop him from doing this Hope Diamond thing, then we can do everything. But over the course of him stopping them from stealing the Hope Diamond, the original explosion that didn't kill anybody was then basically it didn't kill anybody because all the people were inside the museum at the time. Well, by him trying to stop them from doing the Hope Diamond, well, now one of the robbers shot a gun. Now everybody's outside. Well, now it kills a whole shit ton of people.
Yeah,
and so they're super not going to leave.
Yeah,
and so they get out of that. They get, and also from what I remember in true Quantum Leap fashion, one thing I always kind of enjoyed about the series is that it was rare for, and stop me if I'm, but from what I remember, it was rare for these episodes not to leave the people in a much better spot.
Yeah, that's the whole thing, because the rules in the original Quantum Leap were, if Sam doesn't succeed, he never leaps again. He's stuck. He's stuck in that body forever. And so usually it is generally about the people are always in a much better place. It's usually all's well that ends well for the most part.
It's the kind of show, as you're watching it, guys, that you feel pretty good by the end of it.
Yeah.
And so the guy, yes, he gets arrested, but he ends up helping the cops probably testify or something against everybody else. They say the city rallies around him, and all's well that ends well.
He gets his restaurant back.
He gets the restaurant back, but also it's something that as they're going through it, Ernie Hudson and his team is starting not to trust Ben very much.
Yeah, because of the reason, like they left the way he left at the end of the episode, we do get a major breadcrumb, and which is also a connection to the original. Basically, they get a lead, and it's Al's daughter.
Yep, and if you know who Al is, Dean Stockwell, who played the what do you call it, the hologram in the original. This is his daughter. You find out she was going to be she was part of the team or part of this for a bit. But it sounds like Ben was working with her.
That's what they think. Yeah,
that's what they think.
Yeah, and in this, it also reveals that Al is fairly recently dead. Yeah. I think they say like he died like a year or two ago or something like that. Is what they say.
Which matches, I think, Dean Stockwell passed.
I think he died. And if Dean Stockwell, again, if you didn't watch the original Quantum Leap and you want a visual face, if you ever watched Battlestar Galactica, he was basically the head bad guy Cylon. Over the course by the end of the show, he's great in Battlestar Galactica. Really, really good.
Because actually, the guy who wrote the original Quantum Leap Trails was behind Battlestar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, and so another aspect of the original Quantum Leap and this one is at the end of the episode, Ben leaps, and then we get a snippet into his new, where he goes into his new, and where does he end up at the beginning of episode 2?
And in the end of episode 2, he ends up as an astronaut. He's on the what do you call it, the tarmac, or what it's not called the tarmac, whatever the hell they call that. And he's about ready to go up into space.
Yep, literally, it's right when it's launching, and so episode 2, it's he's on board the space shuttle Atlantis in 1995.
Yep. And what they find, and as you go into episode 2, they find out the astronaut that Ben leaps into is an astronaut that dies in this episode.
Yeah, and so he's got to basically find a way to not die.
Exactly, he has to find a way to not die.
We also find out early on this episode that Ben had left a note as to find that there's a USB drive in the apartment. And so Addison looks and finds the USB drive, and we know it's encrypted, but she doesn't know what it's for. She hasn't really she doesn't tell anybody on the team except for Ian.
Yeah,
Ian, the tech guy.
Yeah, she tells Ian the tech guy because she doesn't necessarily. She likes Ernie Hudson and the other lady, but she doesn't necessarily 100% trust him to not to get her out. She wants and needs to be to stay part of this, and so over the course of basically it sounds like because Ernie Hudson's military, he needs to rule out the fact that Ben's a traitor.
Yeah, exactly. Because right now Ernie Hudson does not want. He makes it clear he does not want Addison to try to help jog his memory. Because they have the breakdowns of how Al in the original, bit by bit, he would remember a little more, especially when Al would mention things. And so Ernie Hudson's very clear. Until they know whether or not what Ben's motivations were. They don't want Ben to remember anything in case he did turn traitor.
And in the course of this, he starts remembering some stuff.
Yeah.
Now, was it because he knew the astronaut?
No.
Okay, I thought he said he knew the astronaut.
I think he might have remembered something. He also sometimes they make it clear. I think that he also at times it seems like he's remembering some of the things from their lives, which was not an aspect of the original, but it does not feel like any kind of oversight. It feels like a deliberate thing that they're probably going to touch on later.
I do because I also think. Because basically, as he remembers this astronaut, it kind of jogs his memory about some stuff. Yeah. And then he makes it clear to Addison, which I think is a really cool thing here, that if he were in her boat, he also wouldn't try and jog her memory.
Yes.
He wouldn't. I thought that was a really cool, because if you've listened to this podcast before, I tend to harp on stuff, like explain stuff at least in a simple. And this is a good example of it. Just have been mentioned that, no, if I was in your boat, I wouldn't blindly trust me either until I knew for a fact that I did. He's like, I hope I didn't. I hope I'm not a traitor. I hope I'm not. But you need to rule that out. Kind of.
Agreed. And so in the space shuttle, early on in the space shuttle, it has malfunctioned. They only got 6 hours of oxygen left, and they don't know how Ben dies. Zig and stuff, they don't know how he dies. They just know he dies.
They just know he dies, and it's going to, because they need to go to the government to get what do you call it, a file for how that guy died. Because part of this thing is that Ernie Hudson's also working with the government, but not being 100% truthful for what's happening.
Yeah.
Because bluntly, what could happen is the government could say, you know what, fuck Ben, leave him back there. Whatever body he's in now, we're cutting this program off. We're not losing more people to this.
Because right now, throughout the entire 3 episodes, they are keeping the military in the out of the loop. Because they say it's going to shut down. So Ben has to do a spacewalk, not knowing how he dies,
and also not knowing how to do a spacewalk.
Yeah, it is, and I think it's very because the original never went into space, probably because financially. Yeah. But it's cool then to see the hologram, just like it's a hologram. She can just kind of be standing out there in space. I enjoy that. That was kind of cool.
No, I thought that they just sort of took the Band-Aid off. For that kind of stuff immediately. Because it kind of freaks Ben out initially to see it. Because they don't even pretend. They're like, no, she's like, nah, dude, I'm just sort of,
Yeah. And so, and as this, Ernie Hudson actually goes to visit Al's wife, a widow, to try to track down Al's wife. A widow says she hasn't spoken to the daughter in a year. Meanwhile, we find out in the moment how Ben died because a bunch of debris from, I think, part of the shuttle shoots at him, and he manages to get out of the way and save himself.
He saves himself, but in true Quantum Leap fashion, he accidentally makes it much worse.
Yes, because the piece that was going to hit him now hit another important thing on the ship, and is now they're
all going to die.
Yeah, if they try to go re-entry.
Yeah, basically they need to re-entry, but there's a part on the space shuttle they don't really know about yet. That if they try and re-entry, that's going to blow them up.
Yeah. I mean, and so this is for the second half of the bulk of the second half of the episode in terms of the space stuff. The conflict we get is one, I guess, in the initial thing, the leader, the captain, he got knocked out, got a head injury. Kind of like the first, I would call it first officer is a woman. She believes him believes Ben as far as, hey, this thing's broken, we can't go. There's another random guy that's like, no, fuck it, we got to enter the atmosphere. But then the captain wakes up and he's like, because they're advocating, like they think, hey, let's go to Mir. The Mir space station is close enough, and we can get oxygen and
we can get help from the Russians who are in space currently.
Yeah,
and from what I remember, 90s Russia, United States was not a bad time for like Russia. Like it's not
post-wall.
It's not. What do you call it? It's not the post World War II, and it's not today.
Exactly.
Did we have Rocky IV that kind of maybe hurt us? Maybe, But other than that,
No, because actually, Rocky IV is a ways back. I think Rocky IV. This is in '95.
Right, yeah.
So the wall was down, and
but basically meaning that this would have been a perfectly fine thing for an American. It should be a fine thing for an astronaut to go to another astronaut in space to ask for help anyway.
Yeah.
But there would have been no political stuff, I don't think.
Yeah, and so the captain woke up from his owie and he's like, "No, we're going."
We're going down there. The first officer who took over when the captain, took over, basically decides, okay, I'm going to force him to do what we want to do, and so that makes the captain realize that
the captain, veteran of a couple episodes of The Shield.
Okay, that's why I knew his face.
He wasn't in a ton of The Shield. He was in season 4. That's the Glenn Close year. He was a member of Internal Affairs that just to make sure everything was on board. Glenn Close put undercover in the program. He at the end of the season he comes back. I haven't heard anything on the strike team, and then Glenn Close tells him keep digging. Kind of what set it if you've seen the Shield set, and so him doing it, and it was the last you saw of him, but what he did there is what set in motion the entire rest of the Shield season. But eventually Ben has a rallying speech that convinces convinces Captain to, all right, we'll go to Mir.
They go to Mir. They realize that he has to do another spacewalk.
Yeah, and point something, and it's still not working because they can't hear him. Like, oh fuck, the time of day. The Russians are sound asleep.
Yeah, because it's the middle of the night for Russia. Russia doesn't hear them talking, so Ben does a super jump.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. This was fucking stupid.
Oh, it was really dumb.
He just leaps off the ship and goes through space and lands on the Mir station and knocks on the window and says, "Help, help!" Because they have 2 minutes of oxygen left, and then Russia looks at the door really confused, and then okay, and then I'm like, okay, that's
I think
good.
it was kind of one of those things where the writers were like, "Fuck, we have 5 minutes left.
Yeah.
We have some." We need to get Ernie Hudson and them out of Al's daughter's place.
Basically, yeah.
They had some Ernie Hudson stuff to get through. And so I didn't have a problem with it. I thought it was funny. I thought Neil deGrasse Tyson probably was pulling his hair out. But yeah.
Yeah, and so basically they found a bunch of equations and service on Al's daughter's basement. We also learn via Al's daughter, because Al's daughter talks to the widow at the end, that Ben came to Al's daughter.
Yep. Ben came to Al's daughter, and basically part of what it is that I don't trust Al's daughter at all.
No.
I'm not sure that Al's daughter wasn't a criminal, but it basically the security lady went with Ernie Hudson to Al's daughter's place. Al's daughter has some sort of thing to destroy or get them out of there, light it on fire, that kind of thing. But they get a hard drive out of there to get some more information as far as what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, and so we also learn at the end that what we do know is Ben is trying to work his way to a specific place and time.
Yes. We find out Ben, which I find interesting. Part of me makes me wonder, because it seems like he's going back to prevent something specific.
Yeah. Episode 3, he's a boxer. It's on the eve of a championship fight. Yeah, on the eve of championship fight, basically what this one felt felt very different than the first 2 episodes. That's why I kind of felt like the first 2 episodes were a pilot, then this was hey, this is going to be, hey guys, this is going to be how it goes. Because basically there's multiple layers to this, which I found very interesting, because it's initially they think they have to help Ben. Ben has to help this guy win the title fight that he lost, but then they realize that his manager is his brother, and when Ben's character loses, his brother kills himself. Yeah. I have one major problem with this episode, and the episode's still good. The episode overall is good, and it's they introduce this in the beginning. So Ben, girl starts making out with him. We learn very early on that Ben is with the champ's girlfriend. Okay, Ben is with the champ's girlfriend. And they initially was like, oh, okay, this is a bit of distraction problem. And so we even see at the weigh-in, the girlfriend's with the champ, but like it's never a thing in. The champs, they completely drop it and forget about it in such a just blatantly bad way that because like the girlfriend's like at the fight, the girl at the end of the fight, the girlfriend goes on with that among everybody and goes to him and so it was. I get red herring. It was bad. That was bad.
That was poorly. It was something they did. There was no. It was meant to be a kind of a red herring for you to think that was why kind of thing. What it should have just been is it should have just been some sort of new girl. There's no reason that he had to be part of.
Yeah.
Because what ends up being the main reason for all of this though is that the brother has PTSD.
Yeah, from Vietnam.
From Vietnam.
Yeah.
Which I think, part of me think might come up later.
Good.
Because didn't you talk about Ernie Hudson with something?
Yeah, I don't think it was this. Yeah, I talked about...
Not this episode, but part of me makes me wonder if...
I don't think Ernie Hudson's this character.
No.
But yeah,
I don't think Ernie Hudson's this... Part of me wonders if we see this guy again.
Oh, possibly. Yeah, Daryl.
Yeah.
So basically, because Daryl's a hothead. He gets in a fight with some of the champions group, I think. But we also learned Ziggy's compromised.
Yeah, Ziggy's compromised, which they were really dumb. They just sort of blindly loaded this this hard drive they got from a criminal lady that was like super protected. It sounds like they just sort of loaded it straight into their computer system.
Yeah, that's compromising.
Hey, it gave them they gave him a virus.
Yep. We learned that Ben has a photographic memory, which I thought that was kind of funny and ironic. Considering.
I have a question for you because you have a better memory for stuff like this. Part of how because he ends up winning the boxing fight, and part of how they get through this was that he needs to keep the same original fight.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, how are we going to do this? And she's like, oh, if there was only somebody who has video of the fight.
Yeah.
And so she was able to kind of cheat and show how the fight actually went.
Yes.
Is that how did they do stuff like that in the original?
No.
Not necessarily show, but like tell Sam Beckett, well, we know how this turns out.
Yeah.
We can show you, not necessarily show because the technology wasn't there, but go, hey, I know exactly how XYZ happens. We're just going to make sure we follow XYZ because we already know what happens.
Yeah, there's a couple things. Yeah, in the show, there's a couple aspects like that because there's a couple times where he does go into the body of an athlete. And what I think goes into the body of a boxer at one point. I don't think he ends like the crux of that episode though. The culmination was not the boxing fight, so he didn't. So it's just he was a boxer, and the episode ended up taking things somewhere else.
No,
if I recall.
And what I appreciate with this episode was that what ended up being the reason for the episode, and it kind of also goes back to the first episode where Ben. They could have potentially solved it other ways, but he maintained he wanted to save the wife as well. And this, the purpose of it was to save the brother, and he basically, it ends up being that he saves the brother gets the help he needs, which this was a boxer from back in the 70s. Back then they didn't have the same PTSD kind of like help that they do now, and it ends up being that his brother founds a lot of PTSD, stuff that didn't exist before.
Yep, and so we get some big developments in the future side in this as well. One, we know that it's Al's daughter's the one that hacked into Ziggy. We also get basically we see. That again, he's trying to get to a specific point, and he's working his way in a loop. This is the one where they clearly say that he's this episode. He's definitely before he was born, and so like that he turned off the safety, and that's why he turned off the safety protocols, so he can gradually get his way into this, make his way to this point, and that's what he's plugged in with the equations.
And this is another problem that I have, and this is maybe a small. Because part of what they think here is that they think Ben has a specific path he wants to follow and a specific group of people he wants to jump into, which is fine. except that he knows the purpose of the Quantum Leap project is to solve stuff in certain ways.
Yeah.
So he should have left stuff. If he don't, well, for example, Charles, if he knew he was leaping into that astronaut, he should have left stuff for the group to say, "Hey, I'm going to jump into the astronauts."
Yeah.
Here, that's the problem I had.
Yeah. And tag we kind of get in the end is we do see that Al's daughter has grabbed basically when the project originally shut down, when Sam went MIA and whatnot at the end of the original Quantum Leap, Al had taken a lot of the original Quantum Leaps, and we see her. She has the original Quantum leaping device.
Yeah, which is cool.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And so we see, and we see next time he's going to be leaping into, for the first time, it was a Quantum Leap staple. He leaps into a woman.
Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to see, how, the first time how the other half lives. That happened a number of times throughout the course of Quantum Leap. So, a couple things that I miss though in this show. One, I kind of mentioned. I miss the fact that they don't say "oh boy," but I get it. That's kind of Scott Bakula's thing.
Yeah.
And again, the other thing, again, I miss it, but again, you couldn't have used it because it's so essentially 80s. I miss the opening theme song. I get it. You can't use it. It would have been so out of place.
I miss that too.
Yeah, but okay. So let's take a look how we liked it. Again, we have two rating scales. We got our diamond scale, we have a dud scale. Each one's 1 to 5. Diamond, 1 is like, it's all right. It's okay, not bad, but probably not going to revisit it. And 5 is it was a masterpiece. Dud is it's a bad movie, but 1 is like blow your brains out. Whereas all the way up to 5, the higher it goes, is like maybe more like so bad it's good, or it's bad but it's a guilty pleasure, kind of thing. Mindless popcorn flick. Yeah. So where do you land on this one?
For me, without a doubt, it's a diamond. Because your brother Charles is a sucker for stuff like this. Yeah. I'm a sucker for bad sci-fi television shows, let alone good sci-fi television shows. So I would say it's a diamond. I put it as like a diamond 3. Just because there's holes that I see that I hope I'm just over analyzing stuff for the path. I hope I'm over analyzing this stuff for the path. But I enjoy the fact that they're putting so much lore in for the prior stuff, and I really enjoy that.
I was a diamond as well, and actually landed on a diamond 3 as well. I think it's solid. It's not the best, but it's a solid thing. One thing I am going to caution those of you going to watch it is that some people, if you like, everything has to be answered. I do know this is not. I don't know how it ends or anything like that. I do know it's a sudden cancellation.
Yeah.
I do know when it got canceled, there was no advance notice given. I don't know if they saw the writing on the wall or anything like that, but I do know it was a very sudden cancellation. So it's possible that it might end with some answers. But it was after season 2. It was season 2. So I don't know what answers there were that were left unsaid. But who knows? Maybe there aren't.
And who knows? And I think this just got on Netflix recently is kind of why we did this. In today's society, you also never know. Netflix likes doing stuff. So if a bunch of people watch it, it wouldn't surprise me if they give it some. Because this is let's be honest, this is name wise a great property. To have.
So, what are we going to take a look at next time for episode 33, Evan?
We're going to take a look at a movie called Electric State.
The Electric State. That was a big Netflix one a year or two ago from Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown.
I know nothing about this.
Yeah.
That apparently the Russo brothers did.
Yep, the Russo brothers did. And, so check this out next time.
Cool. Thank you all for listening. Like, comment, subscribe, all the normal stuff. And we will see you in the next one.
Adios.
Bye.